The finest Western films transport viewers back in time, offering a few hours of immersion in the Wild West era. They achieve this by cultivating an authentic atmosphere, utilizing various elements. Some excel with historically accurate costumes and weaponry, while others rely on meticulously designed sets and locations to create an immersive backdrop. Occasionally, a standout performance by an actor portraying a real-life historical figure brings everything together seamlessly. In the most exceptional cases, these components harmoniously coalesce to recreate the era realistically. Have you ever pondered which of the greatest Western films are also the most historically accurate? This list seeks to answer that question. Westerns have been a staple of cinema since its inception, accompanied by Western television shows. However, the Westerns of the 1920s differ significantly from those of the 1960s, and both are distinct from those of the 1990s. Despite their release dates, many Westerns strive for a degree of historical fidelity. In the following entries, we will examine each film's historical accuracy, highlighting its strengths and shortcomings. Vote for the most authentic Wild West movies based on your judgment of their historical accuracy. The Covered Wagon. The Covered Wagon, a silent Western film from 1923, is an adaptation of Emerson Hough's novel depicting the journey of two caravans from Missouri to Oregon. What it achieves. This film stands out as one of the earliest examples of a motion picture striving for historical accuracy. Rather than relying on replicas, Paramount Pictures and director James Cruise employed individuals whose families owned authentic covered wagons used by pioneers moving west. These individuals possessed the skills to drive these wagons realistically, adding a unique level of authenticity to the film. Despite its attention to detail with the two featured caravans, critics and Western historians, such as Jeff Arnold's West, have observed that the film falls short in portraying the grand scale of the transcontinental migrations and the broader settlement of the frontier. By focusing narrowly on specific caravans, the film misses an opportunity to capture the expansive and transformative nature of westward migration during that period. Brigham Young. In the 1940 Western starring Tyrone Power and Dean Jagger, titled Brigham Young, the film depicts the journey of Brigham Young, the newly appointed leader of the Mormon Church, leading his followers to settle in Utah. Historical accuracy. The film effectively portrays the significant influence of Mormonism in shaping the American West. Mormons in Utah established farms, churches, schools, and developed intricate irrigation systems, contributing significantly to the development and transformation of the region during that era. However, the movie overlooks certain contentious aspects associated with the Mormon Church, particularly polygamy, a practice that was controversial and eventually abandoned. Additionally, critical historical context about Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, is omitted, such as his controversial actions like ordering the destruction of a critical printing press during his leadership. Furthermore, the film inaccurately depicts Brigham Young defending Joseph Smith in court, a scenario that did not occur in reality. Such misrepresentations detract from the film's historical accuracy and narrative authenticity. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. In the film, The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford, Brad Pitt portrays Jesse James and Casey Affleck plays Robert Ford, examining the events leading up to Jesse James's death. Historical accuracy. Director Andrew Dominik meticulously recreates the moment of Jesse James's assassination by Robert Ford, aiming for a faithful dramatization based on known facts. Notably, the James Family Preservation Trust, led by one of Jesse's descendants, has praised the film for its accuracy. They commend Brad Pitt's portrayal for capturing Jesse James's public persona while hinting at the complexity beneath, reflecting how Jesse James might have appeared in real life. However, the film accentuates Jesse James's aggressive nature during the Blue Cut train robbery, highlighting instances of violence like smashing people's faces. In reality, Jesse James was also known to exhibit a more benevolent side, reportedly assisting a woman who fainted during a robbery and returning the money he had taken from her. This portrayal neglects to capture the full spectrum of Jesse James's character, presenting a somewhat one-dimensional depiction of his personality and actions. Young Guns. In the 1988 film Young Guns, Emilio Estevez portrays Billy the Kid leading his group, the Regulators, on a quest for revenge against those who killed their benefactor. The film accurately depicts the Regulators becoming deputized, granting them a level of legitimacy they would not have otherwise possessed. Additionally, the portrayal of characters with unkempt facial hair and poor dental hygiene reflects the historical reality of limited personal grooming products during that era. However, the film takes creative liberties by depicting bounty hunter Buckshot Roberts as hunting down the Regulators. In truth, the Regulators ambushed Roberts while he was attempting to collect payment for the sale of his ranch, suspecting his involvement in the slaying of John Tunstall. This deviation from historical events alters the narrative and the dynamics between the characters, presenting a fictionalized version of the encounter for dramatic effect. Cimarron. In the 1931 Western film Cimarron, starring Richard Dix and Irene Dunne, the story revolves around a newspaper editor who relocates to a bustling boomtown in Oklahoma. Historical accuracy. RKO Studios spared no expense, investing a substantial $1.4 million to authentically recreate the 1889 Oklahoma land rush. The production featured an impressive array of over 5,000 extras and utilized 47 cameramen to capture the dynamic action unfolding on a sprawling 40-acre set. The filmmakers succeeded in faithfully depicting the vast scale and magnitude of this historical event. Areas of controversy. Despite its visual grandeur, Cimarron has faced criticism for its portrayal of African Americans, Jews, and Native Americans, deemed stereotypical and offensive by modern standards. Particularly, the depiction of Native Americans as savage aggressors rather than victims of government land seizures has been heavily scrutinized. This portrayal overlooks the complexities of Native American history and perpetuates harmful stereotypes that fail to accurately represent their experiences during this period of American expansion and settlement. Geronimo, an American legend. In Walter Hill's 1993 biopic, Wes Studi takes on the role of the legendary Geronimo. Historical accuracy. Sonny Skyhawk, a Sioux activist hired as a consultant for the film, meticulously verified the tribal affiliation of every actor portraying a Native American character. He praised the movie for providing an accurate glimpse into Geronimo's experiences, presenting a nuanced portrayal that avoids both idealization and demonization, a departure from traditional depictions of the historical figure. To ensure authenticity, approximately 100 members of historic reenactment groups were enlisted to portray the 6th Cavalry on screen, ensuring accurate costumes and weaponry. Areas of inaccuracy. However, the film deviates from historical events by depicting Geronimo being forcibly removed from the reservation by an army officer, which did not occur. The reality was more complex, involving Geronimo's discontent with confinement, concerns about potential detention, and overall mismanagement of the reservation. Additionally, the movie overlooks significant historical events, such as Geronimo's surrender to General Miles in 1886, which marked a pivotal moment in his life and the broader context of Native American history during that period. These omissions detract from the film's overall historical accuracy and completeness in depicting Geronimo's life and legacy. The Culpepper Cattle Co. The Culpepper Cattle Co., released in 1972, follows Ben Mockridge, played by Gary Grimes, a young man hired by a trail boss to join a cattle drive shortly after the Civil War. Andrew Patrick Nelson, in his book Still in the Saddle, The Hollywood Western, 1969 to 1980, notes that this film stands out from many westerns due to its characters' ambiguity. Unlike traditional westerns, the moral lines between good and bad are not clearly drawn, adding complexity to the narrative. Additionally, the characters in this film lack the pristine appearance often seen in westerns. They are depicted with dirt-smudged faces and ill-fitting clothes, reflecting a more realistic portrayal of life in the late 19th century compared to the polished look often depicted in mainstream westerns. Nelson highlights that realism in film is subject to changing aesthetic and thematic standards over time. Our perception of historical accuracy is influenced by contemporary sensibilities, implying that what appears accurate now may not be perceived the same way in the future. Despite this evolving perspective, Nelson remarks that the Culpepper Cattle Co generally avoids glaring historical inaccuracies, suggesting a commendable adherence to authenticity within the context of its production and era. The Alamo. John Wayne directed and starred in the 1960 historical drama depicting the Battle of the Alamo. Historical accuracy. The film generally remains faithful to many important details of the battle, reflecting the superior training and equipment of the Mexican forces, General Houston's inability to send reinforcements, and Davy Crockett's leadership of a volunteer group during the conflict. Similarly, the portrayal of no survivors at the battle's end aligns with historical records of the event. Areas of inaccuracy. Despite its adherence to certain historical elements, the Alamo takes liberties with several aspects of the battle. Notably, the film depicts the battle occurring during daylight hours, whereas historically, the fighting took place in the pre-dawn darkness, which significantly impacts the tactical and visual aspects of the engagement. Additionally, the portrayal of Colonel Jim Bowie being shot during battle conflicts with conflicting historical accounts surrounding his death. Furthermore, certain subplots in the film, such as the relationship between Davy Crockett and Lady Flaka, are purely speculative and not grounded in historical evidence. Overall, while The Alamo strives to depict the essence of the historic battle, it incorporates fictionalized elements and creative interpretations that diverge from documented historical accounts. This blending of historical accuracy with dramatic storytelling reflects the complexities of adapting historical events for cinematic representation, while acknowledging the need for critical analysis when evaluating the film's fidelity to historical truth. Little Big Man. In Arthur Penn's 1970 revisionist western Little Big Man, Dustin Hoffman plays Jack Crabb, a 121-year-old man recounting his remarkable life story, which includes encounters with General Custer. This film stands out as one of the first to depict Native American customs authentically, moving away from outdated stereotypes prevalent in earlier westerns. Penn and cinematographer Harry Stradling Jr. filmed on location at sites like Little Big Horn and Real Indian reservations in Montana, enhancing the film's sense of authenticity and historical context. Little Big Man presents Jack Crabb as a sort of Wild West counterpart to Forrest Gump, interacting with notable historical figures such as Wild Bill Hickok and General Custer. However, the film takes artistic liberties with these portrayals, not always adhering strictly to historical accounts. For example, General Custer is satirically depicted as an unhinged and reckless figure on the battlefield, deviating from more conventional depictions of the historical figure. Additionally, the film compresses the timeline between significant events like the Battle of Washita River and Little Big Horn, creating a sense of temporal compression that differs from the actual historical sequence of events. Overall, Little Big Man blends historical realism with creative interpretation, offering a nuanced and thought-provoking portrayal of the Wild West and its iconic figures. While the film challenges traditional Western narratives and stereotypes, it also invites critical examination of its fictionalized elements and their impact on our understanding of historical events and personalities. Ride with the Devil. Ang Lee's 1999 film is set against the backdrop of the Civil War, focusing on two friends who join the Bushwhackers, a Confederate-aligned group. Tobey Maguire and Skeet Ulrich star in Ride with the Devil. According to historians, Ride with the Devil excels in several areas of historical authenticity. The costumes accurately reflect the attire worn by the bushwhackers during that period, portraying them as youthful individuals, which aligns with historical records. The film also effectively portrays the primitive and painful nature of medical treatment during the era, offering a realistic depiction of the challenges faced by Civil War soldiers. Detailed historical events. The depiction of the sacking of Lawrence in Ride with the Devil is noted for its historical accuracy, capturing the events with precision and attention to detail. However, the film omits mention of the supposedly impenetrable line of outposts along the border that had safeguarded Kansas for the past year. This omission is significant as it underscores the perilous circumstances faced by the bushwhackers and their perceived slim chances of survival amid the heightened tensions and conflicts of the Civil War era. Overall, Ride with the Devil is commended for its commitment to historical authenticity in portraying the experiences of Confederate sympathizers during the Civil War. While the film captures key aspects of the era with accuracy, its selective focus and narrative choices offer insights into the challenges and complexities of historical interpretation within the context of cinematic storytelling. The Big Trail. In the 1930 film The Big Trail, a young John Wayne stars in a story about a covered wagon caravan journeying from the Mississippi River to Washington State. Director Raoul Walsh spared no expense in depicting the vast scope and perilous nature of the wagon train's expedition. The production involved an impressive array of 20,000 extras, including 725 Native Americans, along with 1,800 cattle, 1,400 horses, and 185 wagons. Notably, the film portrays the challenging process of lowering wagons, cargo, and people down cliffs, a rarely depicted aspect of Westerns that adds authenticity to the journey. Despite its ambitious portrayal of the Western migration, The Big Trail has been critiqued for certain historical inaccuracies. One notable flaw highlighted by True West is John Wayne's character wearing a white, Elvis-like buckskin jumpsuit, which may not align with the typical attire of the era. Additionally, the depiction of the villain, Red Flack, played by Tyrone Power Sr., is criticized for being overly theatrical and unrealistic, resembling a stereotypical movie antagonist rather than a believable figure from the Wild West. Overall, The Big Trail offers a grand cinematic portrayal of westward expansion, but is subject to scrutiny for its departures from historical accuracy in certain wardrobe choices and characterizations. Despite these criticisms, the film remains significant for its ambitious production scale and portrayal of lesser-explored aspects of the pioneer experience in early America. Tombstone, 1993. In the 1993 film inspired by Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, and Sam Elliott deliver standout performances. The movie pays meticulous attention to costume design, accurately reflecting the fashion of the 1880s, including the attire of extras. The portrayal of Doc Holliday is particularly notable for its authenticity, with certain lines of dialogue drawn directly from newspaper articles quoting the real Doc Holliday. This approach imbues the character with a genuine sense of historical accuracy, capturing the essence of the historical figure through his own words. Despite its commitment to authenticity, the film takes liberties with certain aspects of Wyatt Earp's story. For instance, the movie focuses solely on Wyatt's brothers Virgil and Morgan, largely ignoring his other siblings. Additionally, the depiction of events at the OK Corral is condensed and altered for dramatic effect, with Virgil and Morgan Earp being portrayed as being killed on the same night, whereas in reality, their deaths occurred weeks apart. These deviations from historical timelines and family dynamics represent creative choices made by the filmmakers to streamline the narrative and heighten dramatic tension. Overall, while Tombstone succeeds in capturing the look and feel of the Old West with its attention to detail and compelling performances, it selectively interprets historical events to fit the cinematic narrative. This blending of historical accuracy and creative storytelling offers audiences a captivating depiction of Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday's legendary story, albeit with certain deviations from established historical records. Heaven's Gate. Michael Cimino's 1980 Western Heaven's Gate is often remembered more for its tumultuous production and financial failure than its on-screen story. However, the film has experienced a more positive critical reassessment in recent years. Historical basis. Heaven's Gate is loosely based on the Johnson County War, a real historical event in Wyoming. As homesteaders moved into the region, tensions arose with the existing cattle barons who dominated the area. This conflict escalated into a violent confrontation known as the Johnson County War. While the film captures the essence of this historical inspiration, it takes significant liberties with certain details. One notable departure from historical accuracy in Heaven's Gate is the portrayal of homesteaders as Eastern European immigrants settling on Wyoming land controlled by American and British cattle barons. In reality, the settlers were predominantly American citizens. Additionally, the film exaggerates the severity of the standoff at the TA Ranch, where only 2 casualties occurred in reality, compared to the more dramatic depiction in the film. Overall, while Heaven's Gate draws inspiration from historical events, it diverges from factual accuracy in its depiction of characters and the intensity of the Johnson County War. Despite its historical liberties, the film remains a noteworthy example of the challenges and complexities of adapting real events into cinematic narratives. McCabe and Mrs. Miller, Warren Beatty and Julie Christie, headline director Robert Altman's 1971 film portraying a gambler and a brothel owner who team up to create a joint enterprise. Their livelihood faces jeopardy with the arrival of a new corporate entity in town. Altman's unique approach to filmmaking is evident in McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Instead of constructing sets beforehand, Altman had the town sets built during filming, mirroring the narrative's themes of establishment and growth. This unconventional method gives the film an authentic depiction of the challenges and processes involved in developing a Western town during the early 1900s. Musical choices. Despite its historical setting, McCabe and Mrs. Miller incorporates songs by Leonard Cohen, a poet and singer whose music is anachronistic to the film's era. Altman's decision to use Cohen's music was influenced by his admiration for Cohen's debut album, Songs of Leonard Cohen, which he listened to while writing the screenplay. Altman found that the album's themes resonated with the film's narrative, prompting him to incorporate several of Cohen's songs to enhance specific scenes. The director's willingness to blend modern music with a period setting reflects his artistic vision and desire to create a unique cinematic experience. In conclusion, McCabe and Mrs. Miller is celebrated for its innovative approach to storytelling and filmmaking techniques. While the inclusion of Leonard Cohen's music may diverge from historical accuracy, it underscores Altman's creative exploration of themes and moods within the narrative. Altman's unconventional methods contribute to the film's distinctiveness and serve as a testament to his artistic vision in crafting a compelling and thought-provoking Western drama. Exploring the most accurate movies about the Old West offers a fascinating journey into historical cinema. These films not only entertain, but also provide valuable insights into the real people and events that shaped the American frontier. Whether it's the attention to detail in costumes, settings, or character portrayals, these movies strive to capture the essence of the Old West with authenticity. If you enjoyed this video and want more content about history, film, and culture, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for regular updates. Subscribe now to join our community of history enthusiasts and film buffs.